Good evening. It's Chris Angel coming at you with another episode of Marketing for the Rest of Us. So I heard this quote years ago from Seth Godin that was, find products for your people, not people for your products. Now this is revolutionary for me because in my early 20s and even probably not that long ago, I had this habit of I'm an idea guy, right? So I have ideas and I'm like, oh, this would be cool and that'd be great. And I go off and I can create stuff like, oh, let's go build a course. Let's go create a PDF. Let's go build a product. And then I'd be like, okay, I have this product. I have this thing that I created. And then I go to the world and I say, hey world, I got this thing. Who wants it? And then, crickets, nobody bites. So when I started reading some of Seth Godin's work, like Tribes is one of my favorite all-time books from Seth Godin, Tribes, you start to look at a lot of marketing is about who you're serving. And once you're clear about who that tribe is, you'll start to get in touch with what their pain points are, what are their problems, what frustrates them. And once you understand that, then you could actually create a product or a service that would help them, that would be relevant to them. Now, let's pause for a minute, because if we go back and we look at how most people market, most people's marketing is like, hey, I have this thing, and now in their social media posts or wherever they market, it's all about their thing. Rather than speaking to the tribe and the tribe's circumstances, they're talking about the benefits and features of the thing, right? So if you go back and look through any of my content, we'll just use this show as an example. Marketing for the rest of us is a very specific conversation to those of us we're people-oriented, we're heart-centered, right? We love people, we're heart-centered, we want to help people. We're not very analytical or technical. We don't like all the games we feel like we have to play in marketing. We also don't like the steamroll. We're not going to steamroll people or spam people and be aggressive with people. I'm clear about my tribe because I am my tribe. I am my tribe. And so it gives me an advantage in marketing because it allows me to be very empathetic about what have I struggled with? What do my people struggle with, right? So if you go back through any of these episodes, this is episode 52 of this show, it's a daily show, and you go back through some of the posts and you'll read some of the comments where people are like, I feel like you're describing me. Sometimes it's not even the show, just go back through previous posts I've done, right? And people will say wow, I feel like you're describing me. And a lot of my content is not even about a product. It is stating what I've noticed and observed, and then I'm letting other people comment on how that's been for them. That gives me feedback about what resonates and what doesn't resonate, right? So let me bring that full circle now. Knowing what resonates and doesn't resonate, I have a better idea of what my tribe needs. And when I figure out what they need, then I can actually help them with that. Now, I'll give you a very concrete example. So a year and a half ago, I created this marketing agency. And and before that, I was doing business coaching. But then in business coaching, I realized that what my people needed, remember, create products for your people. Don't find people for your products. Go find products for your people. My people I was coaching very much in the space of authentic marketing, relationship-based marketing through digital media, social posts, etc. And what I noticed was that my clients at the time had bought into relationship-based marketing. They bought into how I talked about using social media to post in a way that feels authentic. But they didn't have the time. They were too busy to actually implement, or they were frustrated by the technology, right? Facebook's always changing. I can't figure out Instagram. I don't have time for this. I hate technology. And so those two things were the problems. And I had this just gut thing, this prompting in my soul that was like, you need to do this for them. You know how to do this. You know what you're coaching them to do. You need to do this for them. And so from that space, I then went to a handful of clients And I said, hey, this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking of creating a marketing agency where I would just do all the stuff that I've coached you to do. I would just do it for you. What does that sound like to you? And what I got back was, that sounds awesome. Like, yes, please. Where do I sign? So with that, I created the marketing agency, not because I had some idea I didn't want to create a marketing agency. That was not what I wanted to do. But I did it because it was the right thing to do. And that was actually the thing that gave me courage to take the step into creating a marketing agency. I think, guys, anytime you have a big vision for something that you know is the right work for your people, you know it's right because it's going to help your people. It gives you courage to take the step into a bigger game you wouldn't otherwise have necessarily played. You're like, okay, I'm going to go play this game because it's what's right for my people. And that's what happened to me with the marketing agency. Now, interestingly, watch this. Now, a year and a half into this marketing agency, what I'm realizing is as we get new people interested in content marketing, I'm finding that what's missing is coaching. What's missing is they're not coming into the agency from a context of having coached with me. They're coming into the agency as if we're a vendor or a contractor who can just do their social content for them. And those are not my people. That's what's interesting, right? Is like, now I've created this service. I have this product, and other people are finding it. And if we let them in to use the service, they're actually not my people, because they're very demanding, and they're very, like, they have a lot of they don't listen to my advice, and so they have all sorts of. I see some of you on here, like, you're real estate agents. It's like if you're working with a buyer and then they bring their uncle into the conversation to, like, advise them on buying real estate. It's like, no, you don't ask your uncle about buying real estate when you hired me as your agent. It's the same thing in the agency, right? It's like, no, like, I'm not a vendor for you. I'm a partner with you in helping you get to where you want to go. And the marketing that we do for you inside our agency is one way that we do that. But there's a bigger conversation that they're missing if they didn't come into the agency through a coaching conversation, right? Or through some type of indoctrination about how I and we, our tribe, see the world of marketing. And if you don't come through that conversation and you just drop yourself into, right? You just drop yourself into what we do as an agency, then you're missing all the context. So it's funny now, because what started as the agency was a product for my clients, I'm now full circle where I'm realizing that people are finding my agency and they're actually not my people. And what they need now, I'm finding a lot of the people that are resonating with my content, many of them are actually not ready for agency. They're not ready for content marketing done for them because they don't know what they want to say yet. They don't actually know what their business model is yet. Some of them are trying to figure out, like, what their what their important work is in the world. Like, what am I doing here? What is my purpose? What is my business? And until they figure that out, a marketing agency that helps them curate their message isn't relevant. It doesn't help, right? So the agency, it's just really funny as I unpack it, right? Because the agency was a product for the people I was coaching. Now I have this agency and I've gone out to the world saying, hey, world, I have this content marketing. Who wants it? And what I'm getting is, like, either crickets, like nobody's like, oh yeah, I really want that or don't want that. Or I'm getting people who are finding it and they're actually not my people. And I saw this morning, actually. If you look at who are your people are the ones who engage with your content. Your people are the ones who engage with you. And if I look at who's engaging with me, most of them right now are people who just need coaching. They actually need direction. They need clarity before they can participate in content marketing. You don't do content marketing until you're clear on what your message is and what you're doing here and who you're serving. And so that was such a cool aha for me, because I'm like, see, now it's about creating a product for this round of people, which is so funny because now we're back. The product that they need is coaching. Isn't that funny? It's like full circle, I realized that now what I need to create is I need to go back and create a different kind of coaching program than I had before, a new kind of coaching program that speaks to the needs of and the questions of the people that are engaging with my content. I'd be curious from you, those of you watching, if that feels true for you. Like if you followed any of my content, you're like, yep, I'm not ready for agency, but what I do want is some clarity about what I'm doing here, where I'm headed. Because my hunch is that's where most of you are, frankly, which is awesome. I love that because I love that kind of work. Like I just, there's something about it. I'm just wired to, if you and I have a conversation, I'm pretty good at figuring out, like cutting to the chase of like what really matters to you. And then translating all the weird business jargon into a way that has you see a very simple path to what it is you want to do and need to do in this world. And then from there, you actually start to open up to like, oh, I start to see what my message is. And then from there, we can actually talk about, does a marketing agency, is that relevant for you or not? But for most people, it starts with coaching. Anyway, here's the moral of the story for you. Look at where people engage with your content. What questions do people ask you? I think sometimes what we do is maybe we write a book and then we take that book to the world and we're like, hey world, I have a book. But the book is almost like having a product and trying to find people for that product. Rather, go find out what questions are people asking you? Who are those people? And then see how do I create something for them? Because the product and service you have right now may not be ready for it. Just like the marketing agency for a lot of people, they're just not ready for it yet. And so there's a service that needs to happen before the agency. So for you, there may be a service that needs to happen before the thing that you actually have to sell right now. But you don't know that until you start to look at who are your people, who's engaging with you. Now go find a product or service to help them where they are. Okay, that's it for tonight, gang. Thanks for hanging out with me for Marketing for the Rest of Us. Until tomorrow when we do another episode, have a great night and go be relevant to your people.